Hey, good morning. This is your man, Levon, just coming back once again with your Testify Tuesday. And today I want to testify, man, about my eye. You guys know I have been, keeping you abreast on the process with my eye, you dig? And what I want to talk to you guys about is the process that I had to go through, right? And I want to focus on process itself, you dig? But before we get into that, please like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you're always notified upon my next video upload, because it really helps to get the content out to those that may not otherwise see it. It helps the channel to grow. So please, you guys subscribe and tell a friend, tell family, share the content. All right? So also remember, LaMelle, love, uplift, motivate, inspire, learn, laugh, encourage, and enlighten. LaMelle.com. Go get your merch. So don't forget LaMelle.com. Love, uplift, motivate, inspire, learn, laugh, encourage, and enlighten. Please go get your merch. Go get your face mask. And I hope you enjoy the product. All right. So now let's get into it. So we're talking about the process, right? And we hear the word process a lot. What is the process? We hear we hear it used in sports, we hear it used in business, the process, right? Trust the process, going through the process, work the process, right? So what's the process? The process is the necessary journey to get from point A to point B, right? The necessary steps, the necessary stages, the necessary levels, to get from point A to point B. That's the process, right? And so when you're going through this process, when I was going through this process, right, I understood that, it was going to be steps. It was going to be levels that was needed. It was going to be, things that had to take place in order to get from point A to point B. In other words, in order to get from where my eyes were before back to getting them back to normal and where they are, right? It was going to be a process in that. And so one of the things I learned in that process is that it takes effort on your part. I mean, there's sometimes in life where we'll come across, some things to where we can kind of start it and we can just not worry about it and it'll work itself out. But those are far and few in between, right? Most of the time when you come across in your life something that you have to work a process or do a process, or you have to go through the process, the steps, the stages, the ups and downs, the peaks and the valleys, the trials and the triumphs. You have to go through the process. Most of the time, there's something that you have to do on your part. You can't just put it on autopilot and just let it go and just expect that it's gonna, you have to do some things on your part. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take some doing. It's going to take some time. It may take some study. It may take some sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Getting out of your comfort zone or doing things that you're not normally used to doing. But it's going to take some effort on your part. 9 out of 10 times, it's going to take some effort on your part. And within this process, there's a benefit, right? There's a benefit for you at the end of this process. And there's a learning tool that you'll be able to add to your repertoire, that you'll be able to have in your tool belt, that you can pull out and you can use if you ever come across these type of things in the future, or if someone that happens to come across these type of things in the future, you'll have the tools necessary. You'll have the experience necessary, right? That to where you can Tell them about the benefit. Look, I had to go through this. Yes, it was a process. Yes, I had to go through A through Z or whatever it may be. But this was the benefit in the end. And in the end, the benefit was worth the process. You dig? The lesson that I learned, it was worth the process. Because not did someone just fish for me, but they actually taught me how to fish. And so another thing in the process is this. If one deviates from the process, right? What happens is you cause the process to take that much longer. Or in some cases, you cause the process to be voided, reneged, no good. You have to start all over, right? And that sucks. So this is why it's so important to stick with the process, because you don't want to, you don't want to get halfway through the process and then you miss a step. Because guess what? You might have to start all the way from the beginning. Nobody wants to do that, man. You know what I'm saying? This is why it's important to take notes. This is why it's important to set reminders. You have alarms. You have all kinds of things at your disposal to help you in your process or whatever it is. But stick with the process. Go through the steps. Don't try to jump one step, above or ahead of another step because it seems like it's a waste of time or it doesn't make sense to you. If it's a process, don't you think someone has already went through and they've worked it? You know what I'm saying? They've already worked it. Trust the process. Go through the process. And, another thing is that there's lessons to be learned, right? There's lessons to be learned before you go through the process, during your journey, while you're in it, going through it, and then after it's over, right? After you've already made it to your destination, you've already reaped the benefit, or you've learned, the tool or the lesson. There's lessons that you can look at from before, while you're going through, and also, at the end, when you make it through, man, because you can have that for future understanding. You can have that for future generations that you can share. The process is very, very important. So just like the process is of going through anything. For me, I'm just using my eyes as an example of having to put the medicine. First I had to realize that there was an issue, there was a problem, right? And, unfortunately I waited longer than I should have. I just hate going to the doctor. It's just me personally. But don't let my personal opinion go to the doctor. Get yourself checked out anytime you feel it's necessary, or even especially when you think it's not necessary. That's when it's necessary to go to the doctor. All right. But I went to the doctor. That was part of the process. And then I had to get them to tell me or to confirm what was going on. And then from there, I had to get the medicine, right? And then once I take the medicine, then if I take the medicine like supposed to, hopefully I'll reach the end result, which is my eyes being better. Now, even within taking the medicine, that's a process, right? Because there's steps that you have to do. You have to do these steps on a daily basis, sometimes several times a day, or whatever the case may be. But it's a process. And if you miss a step in a process, guess what? You got to start all back. You can't just be like, it's all good. I'll start back again tomorrow. I mean, you can do that, right? But if you do that, guess what? That just prolongs the process. And if you wait and say, I'm going to start tomorrow, like in my case, right? I'm supposed to put drops and I'm supposed to put this ointment in both my eyes. And I'm supposed to do it several times a day for so many days. But what happens if I miss one of those times in the day? All that's going to do is make my process that much longer. And if I miss a couple times, then what'll happen? It could mess up the healing process, and then I have to start the whole thing completely over. Nobody wants to do that, especially not when it comes to dealing with your eyes, because this whole process has made me understand how important your eyes are, how important you need your eyes to be able to see, just for things that you don't even realize you use your eyes for, how much you rely on them. And so this is just kind of reiterated what God has been talking to me about process, because you look at salvation and sanctification, right? Sanctification is a process, and salvation is free. All it takes is for you to open your mouth and believe in your heart, to open your mouth and confess and believe in your heart. And that's salvation. You're saved. But what happens after salvation? Salvation is not just the whole shebang. Once you become saved, then you need to, once you become saved, then you need to work on your sanctification. Sanctification is a process. You know what I'm saying? It's something that comes, you have to work in stages and levels, and you graduate and you go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's a process that continues for the rest of your life. It's a process that never stops. But within that process, as you go along, if you miss a step, guess what? It prolongs your going to the next level. If you miss several steps, guess what? You may have to start over again. Now, thank God that we can start over again. The beauty is that, not that if you fail, that's it, you're done. No, you can start the process again if needed and necessary. It's just very time consuming, and it could be very costly mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. You know what I'm saying? So, just want to share with you how important the process is, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. Enjoy the process, because in going through the process, right, you'll learn that you have what it takes to go from one stage to the next stage, and from one level to the next level. You know what I'm saying? You'll learn that you'll learn that you have to put in some effort, and it'll become a second nature. It'll become just a natural thing. Whenever you go through a process, you know that there's some effort that you're going to have to put in, right? You'll learn that there's a benefit at the end of this thing waiting for you, even though it may get tough, it may get hard, it may be difficult. Some process may be easy, may be smooth sailing, but you know that it at the end of this process, that there's a benefit and there's a tool for you to learn, right? And you'll learn that if you deviate from it, or if you stop in the middle, or if you try to manipulate the process, it could cost you, and it could take longer. And then the life lessons that you'll be able to carry with you when you look back at the before, at the during, and then at the after of the process. So anyway, man, this is your man Levon, just coming on with your Testify Tuesday, just testifying about the process, about how God took me through the process of my eyes, from recognizing it was a problem, then going to do something about it, right? Having to put some effort, action in, and then working the process to come out on the other side. And as you guys saw that my eyes were before all swollen up and puffy, they are, if you can tell, they're looking a whole lot better because I'm working the process. They're still a little swollen, a little puffy, but your man is working the process, you dig? So this is your man Levon with your Testify Tuesday. What are you testifying about on this Tuesday? Please leave in the comments down below so we can talk about it and that other people can see what you're testifying about on this Tuesday. This is your man Levon, Lamella E. Love, uplift, motivate, inspire, learn, laugh, encourage, and enlighten. LamellaE.com. Go to the website, get your merch. All right? I'm out. God bless. One love.